family, loved ones, and friends. Great to see you again. Thank you for joining Truth in Life. Today's topic, we're going to talk about business financial management. We're going to talk a little bit about business management and also your personal management, right? Because these business principles can also apply to you personally. And I'll give a few tips for the personal side of it, and we'll basically just have a great discussion regarding financial management. You know, the best ways, the strategies to go about having um, good plans and investments and a flow for just managing your money properly, or best possible principles. Okay, and again, this topic came up with someone this previous week that just wanted some information. They heard me speak regarding financial matters with business, and I went over and shared some of the things that I've experienced that I thought would be good for them. And I said, well, you know what? This week's uh, tech talk would be a business tech talk, if you will. And I appreciate you guys joining us. So, one of the things I would like to say, before we get started, please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share so we can continuously grow and share this particular channel to help others. As you have taken an opportunity to learn, this information will help others as well. And that's what we're about, helping other people to be the best that they can be for their lives, whatever that purpose is, whatever that calling is on you guys' lives. So help me share and subscribe and just help grow the channel. Okay. So as I shared, worked with a couple of businessmen, and they have just got into a little, almost like a little round robin, round table discussion about business and finance and wanting to grow their business. And with today's situation, economy, and thinking out the box, trying to come up with new development with ways to just grow the money that they do have, there's like, well, we need to see what's the best possible, strategy for business and financial management, and what they could do to improve their situation. So I'll start with just sharing just a small description of what business financial management is. And basically, it's an essential way to basically keep your organization financially in a good place. Uh, and basically, you come up with strategic planning, organizing your finances, your money, controlling where your money is, where it's going, and monitoring um, those particular resources uh, in those places where you send your money, to see how it's working, how it's achieving, to see if it's growing your business in the way that you would have it to grow. You're expecting it to grow. You want to be able to reach your maximum profit, right? So, um, within financial planning and forecasting, you want to develop a roadmap, if you will, of the future financial activities that you plan on doing, for business growth and for stability. And as I've mentioned before about Habakkuk 2 and 2, write the vision and make it plain. When you can write it and see it and put it down on paper, that's also helping you to visualize and remember this is where we're going. This is the purpose of what we're doing, and help you stay on track, because things can come up. Oh, something nice and shiny. I want to buy that. Is that part of your goal? That's part of your vision plan? Is that part of where you planning or actually needing? Is that just a shiny want, or can you do without that? So delayed gratification is important. You want to be able to budget, right? So you want to budget your money. So you want to create a detailed budget that outlines the expected revenues and expenditures. And I have several programs that I use. Um, One is an Excel spreadsheet that I created to help with my finances, my incoming and my outgoing. And it's a real clean and neat uh, spreadsheet that helps me to keep track of my finances and um my cash flow, where I'm going, so I can easily monitor and analyze that particular uh, monies, plural, the inflows and outflows of where it's going. So that way um, I can continuously maintain the threshold that I want to keep for myself as a business and for myself as a personal uh, savings and usage rate, right? So let's talk about capital structure planning. Basically, this helps to determine to optimize mix of debt and equity financing. You also will be needing to do investment planning, assessing um, the investments that you expect to receive return on your investments, and also monitoring the risks involved, because there's always a risk with investments. Okay. And what you want to do is put in place risk management. This will help you identify financial risks and develop strategies to mitigate anything that may come up that you didn't foresee and possibly foresee, that you knew this was going to happen. Do you have a plan to work through that risk that came up, right? Financial forecasting is basically you predicting the future of the financial performance of what you currently have invested in. You're going to get historical data, market trends, and business strategies to help you identify how your money is functioning and operating in certain investments that you put your money in. So you develop various financial scenarios to prepare for uncertainties, right? So just take the time and look at your money realistically. Don't be afraid to, oh, I when I say be afraid, you have to face the reality of where you truly are. And that's a fear for some people. And I've talked to some people. Um, they don't want to necessarily keep a close eye on their finances because they want to believe that they have more money than what they really have. And it helps them, they think, mentally, by not knowing the truth of where they really are. And they can live in almost a fantasy, and it gets them in trouble sometimes, where there's overcharging and overdrafting accounts. And that's part of the reason why they get into those situations of overdraft, because they haven't taken the time to really know how much money that they truly have in their account or accounts. Okay. Now, next thing I want to talk about is steps in financial forecasting, foreseeing, planning in the future, right? So you want to be able to establish clear goals when you're forecasting of what the financial uh, purpose is. What are you planning to achieve? Um, you're going to have certain revenues that's predictable, that you know are coming in. Um, that's good. And then there's going to be profit margins or cash flow. So you want to basically gather historical data of the finances that have historically been going in and coming out. So you want to collect that data to check the performance of it. How has it been working for you? So you can know how to project for future forecasting. Um, in business, this may include sales, expenses, capital investments, um, the market trends, what is happening, how is it moving, market trends going up, down, or an increase in certain products that you're selling, right? So pay attention to that as well. Uh, you want to have assumptions, but you want to develop assumptions in a way that you create a realistic uh, base of information according to your historical information that you've received, according to the historical data from, I would say, a market analysis, right? So you can know, yeah, these growth rates are good, this cost trends are good, these sales prices are good, or no, they're from, we're going into the summertime, and let's put a lower increase on water. The more water we sell, the more profits we can make versus keeping it at a higher rate of a bottled water, right? Um, so just having those types of assumptions and planning in your financial forecasting will help you. So there are different methods. So you need to review these different methods and choose a forecasting method that works for you. Like uh, qualitative methods where you may get an expert in financial judgment, expert in the market research, quantitative methods, time series analysis, regression type of models, right? So you want to create these financial models and build models that project future financial statements, including income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, right? You want to review and validate and compare the forecast against previous data, historical data, and use it as benchmarks when you see something that is working well for you. And basically, this will help identify you did well here. So there's an accuracy um, that you can just basically count on and be assured of as you monitor and provide updates on a regular basis of your analysis, if you will, so that you can basically um, prepare for the market and the market conditions. If they shift high being well in your favor, or if they start drifting and going a little bit too low where it's looking a little sketchy, you don't think you want to move any further in that area, that arena, that's what the forecasting and planning and monitoring is for. Okay. So um, I would also like to give you some financial planning and financial tools. And I mentioned uh, Microsoft Excel spreadsheets that I use. There's something that is also beneficial that's free to the public is Google Sheets. Set up a Google account, Google email, and you can use Google Sheets if you don't have Microsoft uh, Sheets or Excel spreadsheets as a software program. This will help you keep your financial items in a good place where you can customize it, keep it flexible. You can make it any way that fits your style, whether this is business or personal. You can make it fit your style that's comfortable. Now, from a business perspective, also you can use QuickBooks, SAP, Oracle, Hyperion for compression financial planning and analysis, business intelligence tool, Power BI, Tableau for visualization of the financial data and trends, um, Enterprise resource planning, ERP systems. These are business programs. It helps you with integrated solutions like the SAP ERP, Oracle ERP in the cloud, and real time financial planning, right? And reporting. So these are just some of the tools that, from a business perspective, that you can use. I've also used Salesforce.com for financials and accounting program for in business. So that's another good one um, that businesses definitely are utilizing today. Okay, so I would say when using these tools, the best practices within financial planning is align your business strategy. You want to make sure that you're aligning your plans and thoughts for the business with the company's business, with the department's business. So to make sure that all the financial plans and forecasting are closely aligned with the accounting department. That's very important to be able to strategize um, collectively, collaboratively, right? So you want to make sure that when you are going over your business plans, and let's say um, you run a department and you've been allotted certain finances for that department, you want to make sure that your business plans and thoughts, say you want to get some new software, it's going to cost a lot more money, but it's going to help with efficiency, it's going to help with marketing, it's going to help with sales. You need to make sure that you involve the stakeholders and make sure that they are aware of what your plans are. You don't want to assume that they're going to be okay. You want to make sure that they have the knowledge that this is what you want to do, and they have the buy-in. And again, don't be afraid that they may say no. If they say no, take that as not as a negative, but an opportunity to dive in deeper to get more information that you can help them understand the reason why, and turn that no into a yes once they understand the bigger picture or the granular picture, and how it's going to help with growing and gaining money. And also, that you may find out that the no may just be a no for today, but tomorrow it may be possible to and also turn it into a yes. So just go in there and have an idea of what you want to share, get your facts down, and you know be ready for some certain questions. When you're asking, be conservative. Use conservative estimates to account for uncertainties and avoid overestimation um, and in projections. Scenario analysis. Um, you want to be able to provide so to keep you from over projecting. So you want to have multiple scenarios that, best case scenario, worst case scenario, in between, most likely, something to make it, to let them know that you have thought this thing through. And also to make sure that you're giving them a heads up, if you will, of what possibly could happen. Um, Pros and cons is a good thing, right? So you want to present it in a way that if you truly believe this is going to benefit the company, benefit the department, then show how it's going to be a continuous improvement. Show how you will be reviewing this and monitoring this on a regular, consistent basis to make sure that what you foresee actually happens. And if anything starts doing a nosedive or not looking so good, you can easily and quickly report this and possibly stop the momentum of the actions that you've taken place. Okay. I would also say number two is capital management. So, capital management is another strategic planning uh, feature or process where it helps you with controlling the finances and your resources within the company and to help you meet specific company goals and objectives to be able to maximize the value for the stakeholders. Okay? So you want to be able to manage the business's capital structure to optimize financial performances and ensure adequate funding is appropriate. Just as I mentioned, within the departments, in the accounting department especially, and this is something that I've worked with when it's review time for the budget, annual review time for the budget. You want to make sure that everyone is in line and in agreement with the financials that have been put in place or approved of for your specific department. And if you're planning to do something more that's going to be required to have an increase in your revenue, this is the point in time where you ask for more money and you document and show and state proof of concept why you need additional money. What's the plan, right? So you want to be able to explain this in a way that it's received and it can be um, questioned. It can be thought of with the stakeholders outside of this particular meeting when you first present it, because they will probably need to go back and look at the items and the projects that's on their plate and determine if this is truly what we want to do. And so don't expect them to say yes immediately. Most of the time that I've worked with certain specific new development, we've had to wait till management took it back and reviewed it to the point where it's like, okay, they may come back and ask more questions, more feedback, and more explanation that you may need to share with them so they will be able to say, okay, I see what you're saying, I see what you're going, and that's only fair because they're in a position to protect the finances as well, right? So just understand that. Understanding capital structure management. So that's part of what stakeholders will be doing. They will be looking at the capital budget, the entire capital budget, and they will look for specific financial budgets for your team. So this means they will manage the current assets and the liabilities and the liquidity, right? So they will look at all three of those phases and, you know, income statements help them with this. Um, so they will be able to make solid decisions moving forward. So ensure sufficient liquidity to meet short-term obligations. So the company must pay within a year within its current fiscal year, right? So that's what the short-term obligation is when you have liquidity. It involves inventory management, which helps with optimizing the inventory levels to balance cost and availability. There are, of course, accounts receivable management, ensuring efficient collection of receivables are met. And of course, accounts payable um, is managing the timeliness of payments to suppliers and creditors. And this helps with keeping track of your cash flow that's going out. Okay. So, capital budgeting is where you're going to be evaluating the long term investments, right? Your debt, your equity within the financing, uh, which as you're monitoring and perceiving where you're going, an assumption again um, to decide, help you to decide the appropriate level of using the money, spending the money so you can have adequate growth, right? If it's going to cause you to lose money, big money. Now, again, there's risk in everything, but if you lose a little bit, you give yourself a buffer and say, okay, um, we lost a little bit here, but we're going to make this up in the next quarter, if you will, right? So, equity financing, raising capital through the sale of shares. So, you have debt financing, raising capital through loans, bonds, and other forms of debt, right? Hybrid instruments using instruments like convertible bonds, preferred shares, combined elements of debt and equity, cost control measures, right? You want to have cost control measures to help you identify areas where costs can be reduced without compromising quality or customer satisfaction. You want your customers happy. Um, too many times where I can go into a store or a restaurant today and I can immediately tell if the quality has been has been changed and compromised. Right? They bought something cheaper, less expensive, and still sold it at the regular rate or a high rate. Um, And as a customer, not just myself, others, you too, have noticed the change in food, the change in clothing, the change in cars, the change in appliances. You can tell the difference. That's why, even with water, you can tell the difference in quality of water, um, where you will spend a little bit more for water that is going to benefit you health wise, right? So you have to pay attention to that, um, as a business operator, business owner. You don't want to do that because customers do know. You may make a profit the first few weeks or the first month, but eventually it will get out and folks will know that, man, this was not the real deal. I'm not buying this no more. And that's why you see companies fall and fail. And next thing you know, there's a building that has a lease sign on it, and that's part of the reasons why. So you want to have cost control measures, um, to help with identifying those types of things. Um, if you invest in certain products, you want to do investment appraisals where you evaluate, um, the potential growth of a investment project, um, and you will check with methods like, um, net present value (NPV) or internal rate of return (IRR), um, a payback period, if you will. And so, project financing determine the optimal mix of finance and investment uh, periods within your spending habits or your financial usage, and the purpose is to optimize the capital structure of your company, of your business, in a way that it allows you again to be able to perform well with operations and company growth, right? So you want to do this and put this in place. And these are steps and terms and forms to help you grow and grow well, if you will. So now I'll talk about, steps in financial capital management. So you want to assess financial position of conducting a thorough analysis of the company's financials, right? What's the position? What's the balance? You want to utilize your balance sheets. You want to utilize your income statements, even flow statements to help you have a good assessment and knowledge of where your company is. And again, don't be afraid to do this because it's best to know where you are really financially, um, so you can appropriately buy, sell, spend accordingly, right? I would say you want to determine your capital needs, identify what's going to help you as a business. What type of capital requirements do you need to keep growing, to keep innovative ideas growing, strategic investments that you want to have growing? Okay. You want to develop a capital structure plan so you can create a plan that outlines the top usage of your finances, the money that you have, the debt that you have. You got to take into account of that, the equity, and basically having a hybrid financing plan to meet the company's capital needs while minimizing the cost of capital and managing financial risk. Okay. You want to do um, implementing work capital strategies to develop and implement strategies of cash flow, cash receivables, inventory, accounts payable. Again, to have a good understanding of your liquidity of finances, resources, money that you're basically going to be using. You want to evaluate investment opportunities. You want to always be looking at what's the best way that I can invest my money. What's the best target? What's the best plan? What's the best product can I use to invest my money, that I will get a return on my investments? So you want to manage, again, when you're doing this, manage the risks, plan for um, utilizing certain, I would say, management techniques, risk management techniques, um, to mitigate any issues. You know, you may have hedge investments, insurance investments to help you with this. And these types of techniques help you move forward a little more comfortable so that way you can understand what you're getting into and have a little protection, if you will. And that's what the hedging and the risk insurance will do for you. Okay. So with financial uh, planning, you want to review and adjust your financial plans accordingly on a regular basis. Continue to monitor your company's or your business or your department's financial performance, right? You want to make sure that you have good structure in place so you can make adjustments as needed and respond as needed, according to what the market has shown you or produced according to your monitoring and analysis. So budgeting and forecasting tools. Again, use software, Microsoft, Excel, QuickBooks, specialized financial planning software tools. If you want to go deeper into that, basically something that will help you with detailed budgets and forecasting. Right. So financial reporting and analysis. So the purpose of financial reporting and analysis to help you understand what and where you are so you can accurately provide financial information to your business stakeholders, um, so they can make appropriate decisions according to what is on their plate. So the financial ratios, which they will be looking at, is analyzing their liquidity, their profitability, um, how much leverage do they have financially, and basically how much money do they have financially to make moves or investments or purchases that will benefit the company. Um, they will have these efficiency ratios again to determine and assess the best uh, position financially their finances are in. So basically, the health of their finances. Okay. They will utilize financial statements that help them with um, their income. So they'll have income statements, they'll have balance sheets, cash flow statements, again, to help them with the totality of where the business is, how it's doing, how it's not doing. Okay. So again, you have to be brave enough to accept both sides of those spectrums. um, both sides of the spectrums cause you to have a variance in analysis, okay, where you compare the performance against the budget, the forecast, and identifies deviations. So you have to explain and expect when you have these deviations, and they may have some good that come from it, and it may have a dip in profit because of the market, right? But when you're monitoring this appropriately, you are able to adjust appropriately. Okay, so just do a regular review of your bank statements, your accounting statements, your financial statements on a regular basis, whether it's, depending on the type of business that you're in, depending on the type of market you're in, you may need to do something every week. You may need to do something every month, um, definitely every quarter. If you're making big purchases and big spending, you definitely need to pay attention to that, so that way you can um, know again where your finances are, the health of your finances. Okay. So I would say by doing this, the purpose of doing this, if you will, it helps put you to utilizing the best possible practices, methodology. So again, you can provide realistic numbers, being transparent with yourself, being transparent with the stakeholders in business. And so you can have insight on financial reporting, financial positioning. Um, so you'll be able to share and speak confidently with management, stakeholders, executives. Again, so the whole purpose and plan of this with the financial uh, cash flow management and monitoring is just so you can plan and make strategic decisions for the future. That's the bottom line. Um, so you can utilize it and move forward. Again, everyone beating and marching to the same beat of the drum and having a purpose and knowing why. Okay. Cash flow management. Cash flow management, this is a crucial aspect of financial management because it involves monitoring, analyzing, optimizing the inflow and outflow of cash within your business. Okay. So it effectively uh, pays attention to where the cash is going, and basically ensures that the company has sufficient finances to meet the company's goal and obligations. Specifically, again, if you have a specific project that you're working on and that you're planning to build and push out, right? That's going to help the company with growth opportunities, to help avoid any financial distress or any financial pitfalls, any financial problems that you possibly didn't foresee. So this practice helps the business have sufficient cash flow overall and help it to meet its short-term obligations and investments, and particularly most of the time their long-term goals as well. Because if they can benefit in their short-term goals, uh, this will help them with their predictions of their cash flows over a short period of time, like weekly monitoring, monthly, as I mentioned, and sometimes daily operations. The long-term forecasting of this with money will help the business with estimating the cash flows over a longer horizon, a longer period of time. And this something that you will be preparing quarterly statements, as I mentioned, and even annual statements, basically helping with long-term strategic planning. Again, depending on what you want to do, even on a short-term goal, is going to help you with your long-term goals as well, because it's a part of the entire journey of what you want to invest in, what you want to build a company in, and how you want the company to grow over the next 5 to 10 years. So um, you will have something in place, of course, accounts receivables, accounts payables, but accounts receivables um, and accounts management, receivables management, um, have certain policies and procedures where you accept cash and collections. And this will help you with effective credit policies and collections through timely payments from customers, and accounts payable help you with payments to maintain good relationships with your suppliers and cash flow. Basically, paying your bills on time. um, some people struggle with that, and a lot of times it's a mindset, just paying your bills on time. Um, Now, if you don't have the money, there's nothing you can do. You don't have the money. But when you have money, and again, prioritizing and planning your finances, there's certain things that, again, delay gratification. Pay what you owe, pay your bills um, when you can on a timely basis. So that puts you in a good standard, a good position for future investment holders that may invest in you, right? So compliance risk, basically this risk is related to uh, violations of regulations and standards. So you want to have good positive cash flow uh, management and forecasting on a regular basis, again, with operating expenses. So when you have a business, you have to foresee and plan and keep all the operating expenses in in a good place of understanding your salary expenses, your rent, your utilities, your supplies that you need to make the business function. But and also when you have this written down in an Excel spreadsheet, if you will, and you're monitoring this, you know how much um, coffee is being used and cost every month. You know how much paper towels are being utilized, utensils, right? And this is just for the break room. Now, I'm not talking about uh, business computer printer ink, pens and pencils, tablets, those type of utilities and expenses, and business supplies. You keep a certain monthly tab on because you want to know, number one, how much is it costing you, how much you have to spend on a monthly basis. And if, again, if there's a spike that happens, Usually, when there's like a corporate function, uh, a big um, corporate event, you will see a spike in maybe more print, maybe more materials that are being utilized for this particular event. So that's normal. And you pay attention to that and keep that in all into perspective. Okay. So you want to make sure that you monitor the capital expenditures. Again, long-term um, purchases such as equipment, computers, printers, um, property, big machines, uh, air conditioning, technology, software. You want to keep track of those capital expenditures, operating expenses. You know, what are you using on a day-to-day basis to help your company, your business run? Um, so you want to just keep track of that as well, so that way you will be knowledgeable and not overspend and not overutilize. Invest in some particular software when you know you need to pay the equipment rent, the property rent, the technology software that you've got on a subscription on a monthly basis. You got to keep all of that in line so you can stay um, in a positive light and have a positive cash flow um, on an ongoing basis. That's going to help you with your business stability and your business growth. And again, coming up with regular reviews, scenario planning, vendor relationships, building strong relationships with vendors to negotiate better payment terms and decisions. You want to be able to comfortably go and have those type of regular reviews and planning for good, positive financial health and positioning of the company, right? You want to check your customer credit um, and establish good, clear credit policies for um, your clients and watching how those particular credit accounts are performing with new customers and existing customers. Checking for risk with those customers. Checking to make sure that there's no bad debt. If there is bad debt, how do you get it cleared, removed um, from you, from your company? And if there may be a bad company that just does bad business, you want to make sure you identify those types of companies, those types of people, and not do business with them anymore. Simple as that. You want to be able to have an effective, positive cash flow managing system within your business. So that way you can, again, identify where your business is, identify where you want to make good, positive investments so you can grow your business and your company and weather different financial challenges because there will be some. So take those particular things in mind and just plan on how you want to manage, monitor, and grow your company with different investments. Okay. So as I mentioned, with investments, there's always a risk, and you need to have certain parameters put in place for risk management. And this is also, I'm speaking to those who has just a personal checking account, right? When you have your personal checking account and you want to basically buy and spend with your money, keep track of what you're spending with your check. You know, if you're writing in your checkbook, write down you went to Wendy's today. You went to Burger King last week. You went to Taco Bell on another day. All right. Those are minor expenditures, but they're still coming out of your checking account. They're still coming out your bank account. They're still coming out your savings account. However, you're using the money to come out your account, it's still coming out. So for me, I would keep track of everything. Um, and I've done it for such a period of time. Um, I know where my money is even before I tab it up, right? And of course, I have my bank statements, and I double check those because I've had fraudulistic things come on my account where I had to go to the bank and say, hey, this is not a proper charge, not by me. Can you investigate? I'm refuting this charge. Those types of things are happening consistently um, around the world to people. So pay attention to your own personal checking account and spending. I check when I buy gas, I put on there when I buy food, restaurants, I put it on there. If I go to the grocery store, if I go to Costco's, that financial spending is put in my financial spending. This is what I spent at Costco's, and um, it once you get into the habit of it, it makes it easier to notate. Oh, yep, this is what I spent today. This is what I spent last week. Let me check my finances. Oh, um, this very week I did some additional spending and uh, paying off certain creditors and bills. And when I checked my account, I had more money in it. And I checked my creditors. I realized that I didn't have, I had more money than I accounted for because I've been keeping a good balance, a good checking in my account. So at first, I was thinking I didn't have a certain threshold of money. And then when I checked my account, I had more than I thought because I was thinking certain money that was spent that I didn't spend. That's basically it. I didn't spend that particular money, but I thought it was something that I was planning in my head to do. I was going to buy a few things here, buy a few things there for a specific project. And I bought a couple of things, but I didn't buy everything. So I still had additional money. So I was very pleased with that. I still have the money. I didn't buy anything else. I was very pleased to know with myself that I had this additional finances in my account. So risk management basically, again, helps you identify, assess, prioritize your spending habits. It helps you with monitoring, controlling um, the probability of money that has been spent, or if you did spend it, comes out to be an unfortunate event, and then you have to reassess where you need to not spend um, your money. And you know, you may have heard the term robbing Peter to pay Paul. So you have a pool of money, and it's you paying one person or one bill, and you know you still have to pay this particular bill, but you're going to pay them later, okay? Because you have the cash flow to pay Peter, and you're going to pay Paul later. Or you're going to pay Paul and hold Peter off until you can pay it, right? So that's part of the just spending risk management where you assess and identify certain uh, issues that you come up that you may have some potential financial risk in. You know, you may have some someone that violates the market or credit or in the operations. You have to monitor and check that. You may have some internal risk where um, the risk basically originated within the organization, such as operational inefficiencies, right? Financial management, and if we're talking about business, you may have some internal employment turnovers. Okay, if you have too many, why are people leaving? Why aren't they staying within you? You may have to identify and change and fix those things so that way you can retain those people that take some time to train people and get them on a fast paced moving pace that you would love for them to be at and stay at to help you in your business, right? So external risk basically stems from um, market violations, regulatory changes, a natural disaster, things that are out of your control, with the weather, with um, something bad happening, power outages, um, different things like that happens that's out of your control. So you basically um, monitor when those things happen, and also have some type of plan where when it does happen, you deal with it, right? Don't run from it, just deal with it. Um, when certain things like that happen, you put in certain risk mitigation strategies. You develop certain um, tactics, if you will, to ensure that you're able to continuously moving forward with something like a catastrophe happens. If there's a catastrophe that happens, hopefully and prayerfully you have insurance that will help you with the catastrophe and help you move forward with just overcoming such a bad or negative thing, right? And the whole purpose of this is to basically minimize the financial risk that the business may endure. But if it does happen, this will give the company good resiliency to continuously move forward and to continuously go strong. Um, one of the things that I try to do is prepare a business owner, business manager, a department in my own realistic way is help them to prepare for risks, because I've worked in the risk element where I've worked with the risk department. That was part of my overseeing, is making sure that within the risk department we have certain checks and balances. So what I wanted to do is not make it a bad thing or a scary thing. So I tried to have a risk awareness culture, if you will, with my team, and had just some general meetings once a month, twice a month, um, depending on the projects that were in place, where I would foster a culture that recognized the importance of risk and risk management, to encourage them a proactive thought process and being aware and identifying any abnormalities, right? So that way we can identify the risk when it approaches, we can have a mitigation plan, and we can do it together, right? It's not a pointing fingers, it's not a blaming type of thing. It's this issue happened. Let's try to get it fixed immediately, right? So you want to basically help with the risk from all perspectives in the business, the organization, the operations. Again, when you're putting together a strategic plan, keep the risk team involved. Um, when you work as a project manager or stakeholder or executive or manager, whatever your title or position or role is, you want to include the risk management team. Again, we're working together. Keep it collaborative, keep it inclusive, so that way you can be covered. Everyone is covered, everyone is included. And when certain things come up, they're not blindsided. They're not scurrying about trying to figure out, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because we didn't know that this was coming. Yes, you did, because you're included. So that will not be a thought, a question, a spoken word, if you will, because they are included, right? So that's one of the things that I've always tried to do with my risk management team. And in risk management, I'm a technology person, technology guy with business. So you want to use technology and tools, right? You want to use these types of tools to leverage um, risk issues that when they come up, you can manage it. So use different software. Um, there's automated tools to streamline certain risk management within the process, that it will go through a fact check of checking to make sure certain documents have been provided, certain documents have been approved along the way within the process, uh, just like the software development life cycle that I've shared before. When it comes to certain development process and checks. It's the same thing with financial business. When we get to a certain part within the development process, um, have certain licenses been acquired? Okay, once we get those licenses, have the financials been for those licenses been approved? Has it been paid? And in those type of processes, there's risk management involved, and so technology is there to help when it's time to utilize and flow within that process to make sure that there are no issues going forward, right? So one of the things that I keep harping on is keeping your stakeholders engaged, included, collaboratively with your projects. You want to make sure that the stakeholders are aware of your project, they are aware of the cost, they are aware of what possibly will need to be spent. So the spending process, the spending costs of this particular project, and if there's any risk that, if this project or tool or whatever you're spending the money on, if there's any negative issue that may happen, they will be able to have a good understanding of this ahead of time. Again, this is when you're doing your pros and cons analysis, that you present to them to say, hey, this is a possible issue that may come up. And if it does come up, this is possibly what may happen in the spending, right? You want to provide, especially with new projects, you want to provide regular training and education to the users. It may be customers, it may be clients, but you want to provide continual users. So let's say it's a bank, and your customers are people like me that use a credit card, right? So if there's going to be new um, benefits or usage or ideas of what this particular credit card or credit card plan can do for you, what will blank do for you? um, and I didn't use that company's name on purpose, um, just to make sure that we're okay and we're clear. But when those types of companies provide those types of subsidiary benefits, you have to be aware of the pros and cons, the risks of utilizing um, those particular benefits or not. They're a benefit in usage if you can afford to utilize them. If you can't afford to utilize them, don't touch them because they are going to be a bigger risk to you personally. Okay? So just want to share that with you. And again, by providing a robust risk management framework for your business, it helps you put you in a better position for anticipating potential issues. It helps put you in a better position with overspending, uh, additional costs, market rates going up. Um, it will minimize the impact to your business when you have certain things put in place, short term and long term um, stability for your overall company's success. All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this particular topic regarding business financial management. And again, I'll probably do a part two of business financial management because there's further information with compliance, financial gain, financial management um, that I could go into. But for now, I'm going to stop and just say thank you again for joining Johnnie Sanders. Thank you for joining Truth in Life. Thank you for paying attention and being a part with me along this journey. All right. And again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and please join me for the next talk regarding financials and to help you do what? Be good, but also dare to be great. I'll see you next time.